just want to say briefly, just for the record, because I feel like it's my obligation to do so, that people who may identify with a different gender orientation or sexual identity are not inherently suffering from a mental disorder or emotional disturbance. So it is somewhat problematic to me that we would assume that if a student says, I would like to be referred to as he or she or them, whatever their preference is, that inherently means they have. I just think that it can do more harm than good, and to approach this from a standpoint that all people who identify in the LGBTQ community are somehow emotionally or mentally disabled or dysfunctional or unhealthy. It's not fair. It further stigmatizes the population, and it creates more unrest and lack of well-being for a whole group of people that have rights to be seen as human and whole and functional.
I just wanted to say, Jennifer Anderson's comment, that I don't think that's what this says. I think the real issue here is notifying the parent and making the parents aware of their child.
If and I don't, this is just a devil's advocate, but if a teacher overhears that student A has had an intimate relationship with student B, should they also be notifying the parent of that? If a teacher overhears that student A was using drugs, should they be notifying the parent of that? At what point do we say that there is a risk to a student's health or well-being that is now incumbent upon the teacher to then insert themselves into the family relationship? I mean, I think that there's a lot of things that young people do because it is a very, very difficult time that a parent may not know about, that a parent may not want to know about, that a child does not want their parent to know about, that a teacher may be aware of. I mean, we've been teachers. When I had a classroom at lunchtime full of kids having conversations, I heard a lot of things.
And I've also been a parent. Mm-hmm.
I'm a parent too.
Children, and they've gone through middle school and they've gone through high school, and they go through phases.
That's right. That's right.
And so,
but that's the thing.
I want to know, and I'm not saying that you have to do to just say everything, but if there's something significantly different, it's absolutely.
I just think that where we draw the line in this piece of legislation for this group is not equitable. It's not fair.
Resolution in support of the Parental Rights in Education Law. The School Board of Duval County, Florida approved the attached resolution. Board Member Pearson, you pulled this item.
Yes, thank you. And I have a statement which I'm really glad I wrote down at this point. Given that staff members have twice indicated that they intend to make revisions to the policy and procedures that would be affected by legislation from the 2022 legislative session that Governor DeSantis signs into law, and given that staff members have completed a review of the manual referred to in the resolution. And given that staff members regularly provide the board with updates to board policy, I'm not sure that this resolution is the most effective governance tool that our board could use to ensure compliance with new legislation. I move that we table the proposed resolution in order to extend staff the professional courtesy of completing their work and reporting the results to the board and to the public in a workshop.
Second.
There's been a motion by motion by Board Member Pearson, second by Board Member Hershey to table. That's correct? All right, let's make sure I got the motion in second. At this point, because it's a motion to table, there's no discussion on that item, so we'll move straight to a vote. So all those in favor will vote. You need time?
There's no discussion on the motion to table. It's up.
There's no discussion?
Not on a motion to table.
What we have is a.
Let's get clarity on what we have on the screen. The current on the screen says vote in current item, resolution and support. So we're voting on the motion to table.
So we need to do a hand vote.
on a motion to table.
We need to just do a hand vote. Yeah, you may want to do a hand vote.
Let's move. Let's not use the computers on it because I don't want that to be confusing. So let's move to a hand vote for this.
Yeah.
So all those in favor of
Can I ask a question?
motion to table. There's no discussion. You can ask a
Point of
question.
order is what you.
Can I ask a question?
Point of order? Yes.
Point of order. Can I ask a question?
Yes.
We're tabling the resolution? We're tabling the discussion of the resolution?
Tabling the resolution. Yes.
And at what point will we bring it back?
It's indefinitely tabled at that point.
What's the procedure for bringing the resolution back?
Counsel, could you explain?
What would happen is someone would need to move at a later meeting to bring it back up, basically to remove it from the table. Then that would require a second and then a vote to take it off and then reconsider it. Not reconsider, but, to take it back off the table to then revisit.
And after that, the board could discuss the resolution.
Not on whether to take it off the table. So tabling and taking off the table is not subject to debate or discussion.
All right, so let's move forward. There's a motion on the floor to table. So let's go to a hand vote. All those in favor, raise your hand to table. All those opposed? All right, by your action, you have tabled this item 6-1.
My name is Rebecca Nathanson. I'm here on behalf of Moms for Liberty Duval County, which is a growing organization that's paying close attention to public schools. I wish to express our deep disappointment in this board's unwillingness to even have a discussion on the resolution that was put forth last month. As we saw, the resolution in support of parental rights in education received a groundswell of support from this community. More than 150 brave community members went on the record in support of the resolution. Fewer than 100 community members also went on the record in opposition to the resolution. And 6 duly elected board members refused to go on the record to even discuss the issue. Think about that. More than 200 people from the community came to a school board meeting out of their personal concern for students and parents and what's happening. 250 people went on the record, and 6 of you who answer to the public as elected officials refused to have a discussion as a board on the record. The resolution submitted last month asked the board to publicly state whether you would support the Parental Rights in Education bill. Surely you're aware that polling across the state reveals that anywhere from 60 to 80% of Floridians support this legislation, regardless of political party. And 6 of our Duval County School Board members don't have the courage to hold a public discussion to argue why you're either for or against the resolution or the bill. Individuals in our group have been referred to by board members and district personnel as radical and extreme and working to dismantle the public school system. I remind you that it is not those who call out policy violations, missteps, and violations of laws who are guilty of division and destroying the public trust or wanting public schools dismantled. It is those who have departed from the truth, those who willfully exploit the public's trust and have shown that they are accountable to no one, that have done the destructive work. Thank you.
I agree with Board Member Anderson. There are a lot of miscommunication. We have seen in the last 2 board meetings that the community is very passionate about this issue. And I wanted to go back and reiterate the reason why I brought the resolution to the board. There was a lot of conversation that not only happened locally, but around the state and around the nation about the parental rights and education law, which everybody was saying, don't say gay, bill. Nowhere, absolutely nowhere in the new law does it say that. And it's broken my heart that I have had to hear people come to the microphone and say, if my student's gay, I have to tell their parents. That's not true. That if I am a gay couple and we have children, that now we can't participate in our students' activities or field trips. None of those things are true. And so because the resolution was tabled, I'm going to take time, and I didn't do this last time, I'm going to take time to read the resolution and talk about 2 points of the resolution. Whereas it is the duty of the Duval County School Board to maximize parental involvement in the education of their children. Whereas the Florida legislature passed and Governor DeSantis signed the law titled Parental Rights in Education, the law. Whereas the law requires school districts to adopt procedures for notifying parents of any change to a student's services or monitoring related to the student's mental, emotional, or physical health or well-being. Whereas school districts may not adopt procedures or student support forms that prohibit notifying parents about the mental, emotional, physical health, or well-being, or a change in services or monitoring, or encourage students to withhold information from parents. Whereas the Parental Rights and Education law prohibits classroom instruction on sexual orientation or gender identity in kindergarten through 3rd grade, or in a manner that is not age appropriate or developmentally appropriate for students in accordance with state standards. Whereas the Duval County Public Schools has published an LGBTQ+ support guide that states, quote, "It is never appropriate to divulge the sexual orientation of a student to a parent." Whereas the guide further instructs Duval County school personnel, without any parental involvement, to have children decide on their bathroom of choice, shower, and other facility accommodations such as overnight excursions. And whereas the guide was not voted on or approved by the Duval County School Board. Now therefore be it resolved that the Duval County School Board, number 1, unequivocally supports the Parental Rights and Education bill passed by the Florida legislature and enacted into law by Governor Ron DeSantis. Number 2, disproves the provisions of the Duval County Public Schools LGBTQ guide plus support guide set forth in this resolution and the similar provisions therein. And number 3, thanks Governor DeSantis and the Florida legislature for their leadership in defending parents' rights to exercise authority over their children and to teach their children their values, their morals, and their beliefs. And I will say that I was actually unaware. Honestly, I was actually unaware that Duval County had this support guide and that we were socially transitioning students. After I heard the January Littlejohn story, read about her lawsuit, talked to her on the phone, and realized that this was something that was going on, not just in Duval County, across the state of Florida, I felt compelled to ask the board to support this so that everyone in our community, all of our parents would know that we are going to follow the law. And so there is a lot of mischaracterization. There is a lot of miscommunication, and I'm sorry for that. But at the end of the day, there's no circumstance, in my opinion, that would give the district the right to withhold information about their child from a parent. And I hope that this board will consider taking this resolution off the table and actually having a conversation about it so that our community will know where we stand.